Lady Justice. How many of you have seen pictures of Lady Justice? What is normally, give me a description of the picture of Lady Justice. Blindfolded. And why is she blindfolded?
Justice is blind.
Why is justice blind?
It's supposed to be impartial.
Not good.
And it's supposed to be partial. Justice is supposed to be impartial.
Impartial.
Thank you.
And that's why, but how many we find, how many years been in court? Be honest. You know, and how many we find that it's not 100% true with the justice system. It seems, you know, if you can afford a lawyer, you're good. But if you get one of the yahoos, a court-appointed lawyer, right, they hardly show up. And you know your goose is cooked, even if you didn't do it. And so we know that justice is really not blind. It all depends on, I mean, look at how many movie stars and stuff that got away with a lot of things that they do because of what? Money, their fame. How about athletes? Get away with a lot of stuff, right? Politicians. I mean, Kennedy and the Chappaquiddick. You know, with the girl drowning and stuff like that. You know, so justice isn't really blind when it comes to the worldly courtrooms. And if you have that money, you can buy the best lawyers. But you know, when we were trying to get, and Diane actually, I had this in my sermon, but you stole it from me this morning. We were trying to get Dakota's biological brother, Stephen, adopted. When he got into the system, we didn't know he was even taken until a couple of days later. And they already had their mind set on who they're going to give him to with the family. And so we tried, you know, everything, but they took it and dragged us through the mud. You know, lied through their teeth in the courtroom where when you're supposed to raise your right hand, and, you know, you're supposed to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. But they don't do that. And they dragged us through the mud, and it was a horrible, horrible experience. And I've seen a few times, I've been to courtrooms with church members or different things that happen and stuff, and I see how things are not always straight across the board. You know, it's always that lopsided. Lawyers will lie through their teeth to get their client off, unless you have a court-appointed lawyer. Then they just agree with everything the other person says. So, but you know, courtroom, in God's courtroom, guess what? There is no partiality. There is no, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. It doesn't matter, you know, how much clout you got, how much fame you got. It doesn't matter in God's courtroom, because God, you know, there is no partiality. You can't buy God off. And this is what we're going to see today in Romans 2, verses 1 through 16. And let's take a look at that. I'm going to, well, it says, therefore thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest. For wherein thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself, for thou that judgest does the same thing. But we are sure that the judgment of God is according to the truth against them who commit such things. And think thou this, O man, that thou judgest them which do such things, and doest the same, and thou shalt escape the judgment of God. Or despisest thou the riches and the goodness and the forbearance and longsuffering, not knowing that the goodness of God leadeth thee to repentance? But after thy hardness and infinite art, treasures up thyself wrath against the day of wrath and revelation of the righteous judgment of God, who will render to every man according to his deeds. to them who by patient continuance in well-doing seek the glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. But unto them that are contentious and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation, and wrath, tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that does evil, of the Jew first and also the Gentile. But glory, honor, and peace to every man that worketh good, to the Jew first and also to the Gentile. For there is no respect of persons with God. For as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law. And as many as sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves, which show thy work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts, the means while accusing or else excusing one another, in the day when God shall judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ, according to my will. Amen. So we're going to see here, in this outline here, and he's going to be talking to the moral for now. You got to realize this is coming in chapter 2. We're on the end of what Paul was writing to them about the worldly person and how God turned them over because of their evil minds, because of their sinful nature. Okay, but now he's coming into chapter 2 here, but he's trying to say now, let's not just judge people, hastily, pointing the finger at others and looking down on them. Everybody needs the gospel of Christ. Everybody needs the gospel of Christ. And the problem is when we see people that look weird, go up to them and say, hey, how you doing? I mean, you see people with tattoos up. You see a person with a tattoo all over the body. Does that scare you? Especially if you're at night. In a dim light. And they have these holes in their ears and nose rings on their nose. That scares you, doesn't it? It scares me. I mean, I worked at Walmart third shift, and let me tell you, some weird creatures come in. Weird creatures. They had overcoats in summertime, and very scary creatures. And they color their hair different colors. Purple. Purple. I mean, who's ever born with purple hair? That looks just weird, doesn't it? Purple hair. Pink hair. Oh. One time, my stepfather had white hair. Since he was in his 20s, my mom had red hair. They wanted to dye my hair blue for the 4th of July. That's some weird stuff. But but we judge people by the looks, by how they walk. I mean, I saw this guy the other day. I mean, he had his pants down here. It was that food line, and he had the big, he was a dark skinned man, but he had these locks in his hair and everything, and he walked, and I'm thinking to myself, how in the world is he keeping his drawers up? I was going to ask him to. I was going to say, excuse me. How in the world do you keep your pants up? Because I'd like to know. And mine get down about right here. They just fall all the way. I don't know how gravity, they defy the law of gravity, the drawers hanging like that. I mean, even if you tighten them up or something, doesn't that hurt the hips? I mean, that has to, but some of these weird people, and sometimes it's very scary because you don't know the way people are today. And you're going to end up with a knife in your back or a gun in your back or whatever, or get your car stolen or your money stolen or whatever. But it's very scary out there. We tend to judge people by the way they look and the outside appearance to them. Even if somebody's deaf, we act weird around them. We instead of acting normal, we try to, hey, hey, you know, we open our mouth and try to get them to see what we're talking about and things like that. We kind of act weird around people that are different. And instead of acting normal and stuff, but we cannot judge people by their looks. And this is all clear. Let me take the moral person in 2A, or 2-1A. Excuse me. He's saying, you know, I should be acquitted on the grounds that I'm not as bad as that person over here. You know, we have a lot of people that, you know, they do morally right. And they try to uphold the morals. My real father was very moral. I don't know if he ever knew Christ. He yelled at a garage attendant back in the 70s or 60s and everything. You know how garage attendants used to have, they probably still do. Those pictures of women in bikinis and motorcycles, stuff like that. He'd tell them right to their face, that is vulgar, you need to take that down. You know, he didn't play when it came to things like that. Because children come in there and, you know, other people come in there. You don't need to have women half naked hanging on your office. And, but the thing is, I don't think he was saved. And because he never told me or anything about Jesus Christ. And when we went to church, he directed traffic and worked for special police. And never saw him open the Bible, never talk about it, but he had good morals. But the moral person just says that, you know, I'm not as bad as that person, you know, and, you know, that person is worse than I am. And then you got but God says this, you do the same basic thing, only you do it in a cultivated different way. You do the same thing, you know. If you know somebody that's in adultery, you're sitting there looking at a woman and lusting after her, you're committing sin in your heart. You know? And so, God is saying, you do the basic same thing that you're putting that person down for, but you do it in a better, refined or cultivated way. And then, and what the results is that it's going to be happening, there's going to be the objection of God's terrible wrath. And if you take a look here, let's take a look at verse 1. Therefore thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest. For with there thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself, for thou that judgest doest the same thing. Okay? They judge people, they have good morals, they're moralists, they don't know Christ, they don't have any salvation, but they are a moral person. But God is saying that you do the same thing, but in a different way. You're judging that person, you're going to be judged. Because if you know that person's doing wrong, then you know the standards. Then why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? And then we have the heathen person. In 12 to 13, it says, I should be acquitted on the grounds that I am ignorant. I don't know God. Or I don't know anything about God. But guess what? What is God going to say? God is going to say, you have the twin witnesses of conscience and nature. You know that I exist. You know that I am here. You know that this was not all just popped up. You know, my fingerprint is on all of creation. And so, there is going to be no excuses in the throne room of God in Judgment Day. No excuses. God's not going to weigh the difference. Either right or you're wrong. Either right or they're wrong. So, we have the first point is the inconsistency of human judgment. We have the self-righteousness is a sin, that we think that we're better than other people because we don't do the things that other people do. They might dress weird, but we don't do that. We dress very normal. But what is normal? I've lost track of the younger generation's hip words. Cool is not one of them anymore. My 26-year-old son told me that. Dad, we don't use cool anymore. I know one time it was shut up. That was supposed to be an exciting word. It means, oh, you're kidding me? When you say, somebody says something you exciting, oh, shut up. I'm thinking, that's rude.
Yes.
Shut up. I mean, back in my day, shut up meant keep your mouth shut. You're going to get slapped in the mouth. That's what shut up meant back when I was a kid, right? It means a whole different thing. And, but, with that previous list, Paul didn't want people looking down on others, the Christians looking down on the other people because of their sinful life. They needed Christ. A lot of times we look at people because they're in a homosexual, homosexual lifestyle, but then you got the teenagers putting down the homosexual, but the teenagers going around sleeping with his girlfriend. So what's the difference? They're all in sin, aren't they? They're all in sin according to God's laws and standards. Sex is for the marriage bed, between a husband and a wife. Period. Period. The word judge, krino, means to criticize, to find fault, to condemn. This is the terrible flaw of the moralist. Any person becomes a moralist when he sets himself up as a judge of others. Anytime we judge another person, we are declaring that what? Are living by some rule that another person is not living by, are more moral than someone else, are better than someone else, are superior to someone else, are more righteous than someone else, and more acceptable to God than someone else, which is all wrong. And again, it's not talking about when we if there's sin in the camps of the church, we have to bring that out when we do it in a private manner. When we talk, we do it in a private manner. When we talk, and we talk to them like the scripture says in Matthew 18, we need to go to that person and tell them that they're doing wrong and talk to them. But we're not judging them in a sense. We're trying to bring them back out of the sin. We're trying to throw them a life preserver and bring them out in a loving way. Because if we start judging others and pointing the finger at people, my dad always said, you point the finger at somebody else, guess what? There's three pointing back at you. Isn't that true? And we start pointing the finger at people. What did Jesus say about judging? In Matthew 7, 1-5, judge not that you be not judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. Why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me remove the speck from your eyes, and look, a plank is in your own eye? Hypocrite, first remove the plank from your own eye, then you will see clearly if you remove the speck from your brother's eye. It's very hard to help someone else when you got a big old honker hanging out of your eye. And when we start judging, when we start judging people, and we also judge people, and we assume things that are not in evidence. How many of you have done that? Assume things. Well, maybe someone didn't show up for church today, and you're assuming that they're just playing hooky. You assume that they're not coming here, and you be sitting there talking to your other friends. Yeah, I bet she didn't come to church because she got her tax return. She's over at Walmart buying the store. She's homesick, really. But you're sitting there already assuming what she's doing. It's not judging somebody. How many we've done that? Be honest, we've done that. You sit there and assume something that's not in evidence, and we ended up judging somebody because of that. Matthew 5:27-28 says, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not commit adultery. But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust after her has already committed adultery within his heart. So if you're sitting there pointing the finger at somebody else because they are in a relationship, but you're going to the beach and everything to eyeball the girls, are not you committing adultery too in your heart? I remember the time when I probably told you the story about when Nelson went to the beach, Myrtle Beach, I think it was. And we were walking down the beach and everything, and there was a woman laying right there, right in front of us, laying there on a beach towel and everything, and just sunbathing, and practically nothing on. And Nelson yells out, "Ooh, Dad, check her out!" I grabbed him, we that was embarrassing. Then you know how they have on the piers, they have those scopes? My father-in-law got done looking at one of the scopes, and I went in there and looked after him, and it was pointed right at another girl in a bikini. And I said, "Yeah, I know what you're looking at, Pop." Of course, he denied it. But the thing is that we judge people by the outward appearance, but guess what? God judges, and Jesus judges people by the heart. You know, we don't know what's going on. When you see somebody grumpy and sitting there, I mean, how many of you got those cashiers that just look like they're ready to strangle somebody? You're afraid to go up there because they're sitting there. But you don't know what's happened that day to that person. You don't know the pain that they're going through. And we immediately judge that person. Well, look at that snobby cashier. Snippity, snip. But you don't know what's causing that. We sit there and judge her and call her names behind her back. When in turn that she could have just lost her mother and they wouldn't let her off work. Or something could have happened. We don't know the facts that are not in evidence. And but talking about a moral person, I don't know if you've heard of Seneca. He's a prime example of a moral person that, you know, they say that he came to know Christ in his later years. But he was a moral person. He worked, and he was one of the Roman philosophers of contemporary. F.F. Bruce points out that Seneca could write so effectively on the good life that Christian writers of latter day were prone to call him our own Seneca. Not only did he exalt great moral virtue, he exposed hypocrisy. He preached the equality of all men. He acknowledged the pervasive character of evil. He practiced and inculcated daily self-examinations. He ridiculed vulgar idolatry. He assumed the role of a moral guide. But too often he tolerated in himself vices not so different from those which he condemned. And so he was condemning those, but he was doing the opposite in a cultivated way, in a very refined way. And the next point is in verses 2 through 15, the integrity of God's judgment. And it says in verse 2, we are sure that the judgment of God is according to truth against them which commit such things. And think thou that this, O man, that thou judgest them which do so things and does the same, that thou shalt escape the judgment of God. Or despisest thou the riches of his goodness and forbearance, you long-suffering, not knowing that the goodness of God leadeth to repentance. But after thy hardness and repentant heart, treasure up unto thyself wrath against the day of wrath, and revelation of the righteous judgment of God. And God's judgment is complete truth and justice. You know, we're all going to stand before God one day. Those who don't know Christ will stand in the white throne judgment and get judged on all your sin, and then cast into the lake of fire. But those who do know Christ, we're going to be at the Bema seat of judgment, where all of our works on this earth for Christ is going to be weighed. And what we did for Him, it's going to be weighed and tried in the fire. A lot of times people do things just to get recognition. Look what I did today. Tithes and offering. Oh yeah, she was hurting so bad that I slipped her $200. You talk about it, you brag about it, you put it on Facebook. Is that something to brag about? We should do it quietly and silently. You see, all of our, and God knows our motivation behind the things that we do. Are we doing it for recognition, for pride, for, hey, look at me? A lot of people, love to sing in the choir and sing up there, and they love to strut in front of people and do all that. We had a lady way back when, she called me to her house to discuss about getting choir robes for our children's choir. Because she liked all the fancy food. I said, well, you come to the wrong church and the wrong pastor for that. I said, I'm not into foo-foo. And I'm not into recognition. You come up and you sing for the Lord because you want to sing unto Him, not to have all these eyes looking at you. Okay? So when the one who needs to be recognized us is God. That's who we're singing for. That's who we're doing it for. I mean, Lord knows I'd love to have a voice I can sing. Right now I have a voice I can speak. But God is going to weigh our words, what we do for Him. That God Himself is true and therefore will be totally unprejudiced. The evidence will be real and therefore there can be no thought of a mistrial. The judgment of God is inescapable. Can't escape it. The major complaints of human beings is that so often the innocent suffer and the guilty escape. How many heard that one? And it's so much. There seems to be strong feelings in modern society that there is a law for the wealthy and another law for the poor. Sometimes you can't get a fair trial. Back in the 60s, it was hard for a black person to get a fair trial. They rather just point it out. I mean, a white person would do it, blame it on the black person would get hung. Some of us can't afford a Ben Matlock. We end up with Billy Bob, who's having a hard time to find the courtroom. We get these corner-pointed lawyers, they're going to win or lose. It doesn't matter if they get paid. So it doesn't matter if you fry or not, they're still back on the farm, enjoying their life. They'll throw you under the bus. And they make it all easy. They would try to do make it easy for themselves. Make a plea deal. Well, why am I going to plead if I'm innocent? You say I'm guilty, but I know I'm innocent. Judgment of God is cumulative. Okay? It's cumulative. It's collective. Okay? Because either you're going to store up treasures in heaven for yourself, or you're going to store up judgment of God's wrath. Either or. Paul insisted that the true reason for the delay in the dawn of God's wrath is God's goodness, forbearance, and long-suffering. That's what's holding back God's wrath right now. It's His love for us, because He doesn't want any of us to perish, but all come to repentance. Where are the people in church? And where are all the people in church? Go to Walmart and see how packed it is on a Sunday morning. Go to the mall and see where people are. Of course, then you won't be in church, right? I wasn't giving you permission. These beautiful attributes of God, when known, are intended to lead people to repentance. God's love, His goodness, His forbearance, and His long-suffering. I mean, His forbearance, He's putting things, He's holding back the wrath. For people to come to know Him, come to know His Son. I mean, a lot of us wouldn't even be here or saved if God came back 20, 30 years ago. We weren't saved. We were in our sin. God came back then, guess what? We would have been all gone to hell. And he's holding back. He's holding back. God is tolerating sin a little longer out of kindness, not weakness.
Amen.
Because he loves each and every one of us. He doesn't want any of us to perish. Unfortunately, it is not the case. Man despises the kindness and uses the freedom to sin even more. That's how man is. Man's hardened his heart. You know what the Greek word for that is? It's skleros. That's how you pronounce it, right? Sklerot. It means callousness, stubbornness, hardness. That's the Greek word. But we get the English word for that is sclerosis, like arterial sclerosis. And that means hardness. Hard, callous. That's how man's heart is towards God. The judgment of God is based on man's actions. We see here in verses 6 and 10, who will render to every man according to his deeds, to them who by patient continuance in well-doing seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. But unto them that are contentious and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation, and wrath, tribulation, anguish upon every soul of a man that doeth evil, of the Jew first, and also to the Gentile. To the Jew first, and also to the Gentile. The judgment of God is based on man's actions. Sinful man will be judged on life without Christ. That's the white throne judgment. Or the believer will be judged on the works for Christ. And that's the Bema seat judgment. But we're all going to stand before God one day. And there's going to be no excuses why we didn't do what we were supposed to do. There is the sin of omission, which means that we know what we're supposed to do, but we don't do it. That's the sin of omission. We are to witness, we are to bring forth the gospel of Jesus Christ to our family and friends. When you stand up in front of God, you can't say, well, I was scared. God's going to say, well, why didn't you pray for courage? See, there's got to be no excuses. I mean, pastors hear all the excuses all the time when people come to church. But the thing is, there's going to be no excuses before God. We are going to be judged. Now, we're still going to get heaven. We're not going to get the rewards that we're due, the crowns, the victor's crowns. Doing the work for Christ. 1 Corinthians 3:13 through 15 says, each one's work will become clear. For the day will declare it, because it will be revealed by the fire, and the fire will test each one's works. And of what sort it is. If anyone work which he has built on it endures, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned, he will suffer loss, but he himself will be saved, yet so as through the fire. Motives behind our work that we do. Are we doing it for pride or prestige or look at me? Or are we doing it for money? How many pastors out there, make sure they get their big cut? $100,000 a year. Are we doing it for the money? I believe that pastors should be paid, and pastors and people work in the church and stuff like that. I believe that because the Scripture clearly teaches that we should be paid for our labor. But there's one way of getting paid when we over. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the one that wears the gold, and I don't even wear a watch. I got one ring, that's my wedding ring. I'm not into all the jewelry. I've got a necklace of a cross, but it's a string necklace and it's tied, so when it breaks, it gets broke so many times. I'm not into all the foo-foo stuff, because I am a servant of Christ. I'm not in it for the money and the glory and all that. Because my home is not here. I'm building my mansion here on this earth. I'm building my mansion, or Christ is building my mansion up in heaven. You know, and Cornelius is a prime example of a God-fearing man, but he was lost without Christ. I mean, he prayed. I mean, he gave alms. He gave his alms to the poor. Gave money to the church and everything, but he was still lost. And God sent Peter. Remember Peter and the vision of the sheep coming out of heaven with all the unclean meats on there? It was showing that you know, he needs to witness to Gentiles too. And that whatever, you know, God cleans, don't call on whatever God, how's that going again? Clean, don't call common. And so he sent Peter to witness to Cornelius, because, Cornelius was a God-fearing man. He prayed. He gave his alms to the poor, to the church, and everything else, but he was missing that one thing, was salvation in Jesus Christ. So it doesn't matter how much money you give, or how much work you do in the church, or how much time you come to church, if you don't know Christ, you understand? God's not going to let you into His kingdom by, oh, look at all the stuff you did. Oh, look at all this. Oh, look at all this. Look at all this. Because you don't know His Son. Don't know His Son. So He sent Peter to Cornelius to bring forth the gospel of Jesus Christ. And just as it says, there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of what was called the Italian regiment, a devout man, one who feared God with all his household, who gave alms generously to the people and prayed to God always. But guess what? He needed Christ. So God sent Peter to Cornelius to witness to him. And the judgment of God is impartial. Take a look at verse 11. For there is no respect of persons with God. It doesn't matter who you are, what you have, the money you have. Now, in the courts today, you can bribe. You can get away with a lot of things, in the politicians especially, right? It's not knowing what you know, it's who you know. John, can you close that back door?
I closed it once before.
Yeah, you got to kind of give it a little jerk there. I want the heat escape. It's a little hippie out there. Yeah, it's a little hippie out there. So, but there's no respect of persons with God toward the Jews because of His privileged position. Because Jews are the chosen people, guess what? They need to come into Christ too. You know, there's a saying in his dialogue with Triumphal, the 2nd century Christian, Justin Marr reports, his Jewish opponent was saying this: they who are the seed of Abraham, according to the flesh, shall in any case, even if they be sinners and unbelieving and disobedient towards God, shall share in the eternal kingdom. Some Jews even taught that Abraham sits outside the gates of hell in order to prevent even the most wicked Jew from entering hell. So Abraham's in there, directing traffic. Crazy stuff. They believe. But if you do not know Jesus Christ, your first Lord and Savior, you're going to hell. Plain and simple. It doesn't matter if you're religious. A lot of people are religious. The last point I want to make is the inevitably of God's judgment. The inevitability of God's judgment. It's inevitable. You can't escape it. We are going to be standing before God one day. In the day when God, look what it says here. Verse 16. In the day when God shall, notice that shall. Now some of you guys have King James, New King James, so it says will. Will. Judge the secrets of men. Everything you're doing is secret behind closed doors. Know that old song? No one knows what goes behind closed doors. God does. You know when she lets her hair hang down? How that song goes? No one knows what goes behind. How many know that song? Oh, you country folk, yeah. I'm a country folk myself. But God knows what goes on behind closed doors. God knows what goes on. God sees everything. God knows everything about us. Our insides, our outsides, our sideways, everything. God knows. And in the day when God shall judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ, according to my gospel. You know, that God will judge the secrets of men. And guess who's going to be the judge? Jesus Christ is going to be the judge. Look, it's hard to fathom Jesus Christ being the judge. We picture Jesus as the cute little baby in the manger that grew up, that put, was so kind and compassionate and healed the blind, made the deaf hear, made the lame walk, the dumb speak, raised the dead. But guess what? He's going to be the judge. Pilate. Jesus stood before Pilate, and Pilate one day is going to stand before Christ. He's going to stand before Christ and give account of his life. And cast into the lake of fire. Hebrews 9:27-28 says, and as it is appointed for men to die once, but after this the judgment, so Christ was offered once to bear the sins of many. To those who eagerly wait for him, he will appear a second time apart from sin for salvation. He shall judge us, the secrets of our hearts. There's a lot of things that we don't tell. And a lot of times it's none of everybody else's business. Between you and God. But God knows. God knows. The judge will be Jesus Christ himself. Acts 17:31 says, because he hath appointed a day in the which he will judge the world in righteousness by that man whom he hath ordained, whereof he hath given assurance unto all men, in that he hath raised him from the dead. And so when we look at this here from verses 1 through 16, we see God's judgment. And God is going to judge. And there's no partiality. There's no excuses. We can't come up with any excuses why we didn't know Christ. I mean, the ones that, and that goes for the, some people believe, well, the ones that never heard the gospel and everything, they're going to get saved on a layaway plan. And creation, even the seasons declare who Christ is. You have the fall, which is death. You have the winter, which is the burial. You have the spring as the resurrection. Even that declares who Christ is. Spring brings new life. The flowers bloom. The trees bloom. Everything looks so pretty. The chill is gone. When we think of death, it's cold and barren. But spring brings new life, and so even the creation declares who Christ is. So, but the whole point is here, and Paul's trying to make too, is that before we can grasp the good news and understand the good news, we got to understand the bad news. That we are sinners, needing a Savior. We need to grasp that bad news. We need to grasp it and understand it, because before you can see what kind of Savior He is, you need to know what kind of sinner you are. A lot of us think that, well, I've never really done that really bad as him. I mean, look at that Yahoo over there. He's got a nose piercing. I mean, his ears, he's got holes down to his knees. I mean, look at that guy. He's got no teeth. I mean, he looks terrible. I'm not as bad as him. I'm good looking. A little on the chubby side. God, you chose me before him anyway. He's miserable. He doesn't even smile. He's got no teeth. Why doesn't he smile? But that's what people look at things. We look at, we down on people, but there's no partiality.